Okay.
See, Tina, I told you that there's a funny little lady that
Yeah,
says
there is.
recording. And Melissa and I, every single time we do this now, we try not to talk about it, but it's just too weird. So
Now there's a pop-up that says, should I push continue?
yeah,
You're consenting. Yes. Okay.
cool. So, oh, you had to consent to be recorded. My
I
goodness.
guess so.
Okay, well, here we are. We are recording, and I am Megan Holmes here at the Needlepoint Clubhouse in St. Louis, Missouri. And together with my friend Melissa McLeod, who is actually, I think, right now in the same place as my guest this week, which is Grosse Pointe, Michigan.
Yeah.
Melissa owns The Wool and the Floss. And I am delighted that Melissa connected me with Tina Griffin, right?
Yes. Tina Griffin.
Of and you
Tina
call it
Griffin
Tina Griffin
Designs.
Designs, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So welcome. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here on the
Thank you for
podcast.
having me. This is a treat.
Good. It'll
A
be
little
fun.
scary, but it's a treat.
Hey, this isn't a scary thing. This is a fun thing. So anyway, here we are. We're here to talk to Tina today about her designs and her business and sort of how she got into the needlepoint industry. And so, Tina, you are rather new, I think I can
Yes.
say.
Yes.
Just kind of compared to some of the other folks who have been in the industry for a long time. So why
Yes.
don't you, so your name's Tina Griffin, you're Tina Griffin Designs, and why don't you kind of just tell us a little bit about how you got started in the industry and
Okay.
kind of how
Well,
you,
I've always been a stitcher. I mean,
oh, good.
I've stitched since I was in high school, and loved it. And I was always kind of known as Melissa's the owner before her, Jean Candler,
Uh-huh.
knew. I would change canvases around. I would stitch over the
Oh,
painting, or I'd try to repaint it or whatever. And so I mean, I was always kind of moving things around anyway. But I've stitched all my life, and then I have two sons. They're twins, and so I would do them little belts and stitch over the canvases, stitch over the painting. And one day, my one of my sons said, "Would you do me a belt with duck heads on it?" And I said, "Okay, I'll try." And so I went down the basement, and my husband's a hunter, and so we had some old duck pictures, old. And so I took those and I made it into a belt.
okay.
And I really loved doing the painting. I loved, trying to figure out how it was, the colors and the design and everything. And so I did that and showed it to a few friends, and they were all impressed. And so they started asking me to do custom stuff. And I took the duck heads on that belt and made coasters for a friend that had a hunting lodge. Now my canvases are falling off the wall.
It happens.
Um, and and they loved them, and so I started selling those. And then I just did a lot of custom work for people for probably about 5 years.
Okay. So when
And
was this? So how old are your, I'm just going to back you up. So how old are your sons?
well, now they're 29.
So when
Actually,
was it that you designed this duck belt?
yeah, this was probably 2008, 5, something like that.
Okay.
Quite
Okay.
a while ago.
Okay.
And then I would do a couple things for friends, and so then after that I did a lot of custom work. That I probably did custom work for at least 5 years.
Okay.
And then I got a little tired of doing the Michigan logo on belts for, the 99th time. And,
Yeah.
and I had some ideas of my own. And so I thought, well, I'm going to just play around with some of these ideas, just see, what happens.
Sure.
And one of the things was an angel. That was
Okay.
one of the first things that I did. And it's a complicated canvas, as you can see in the corner back here.
So
It's a weird looking canvas. And so it was difficult to get it finished once I stitched it. But I finally found a finisher. Actually, Jean and Melissa found the finisher, and she put it all together. And it comes with a little, round head, little
uh-huh.
bead head, and little halo, and they figured it out. And then I started. Melissa, pretty much encouraged me to get in the business,
I'm
start
so
selling.
glad. I'm so glad she did. So two things I want to say. So the duck head belt, is that the one that's in your collection right now?
Yes.
Because that's
Yes.
one of my favorites. There are not a lot of belts out there that have the painted background in, and yours is the one with the khaki and white stripe, and I love that belt. I will
It's
say
fun.
it's not the most fun to stitch.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's like up and down, and up and down.
Yeah.
It's you can't really basket weave that background very easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a beautiful finish, and it's one of my favorites, and I think we're out of stock, so I'm gonna have to talk to you about that. But
Oh, thank you.
yeah, but that's a great. So I remember that from your line. But then I will say that I do think, from sort of an outsider looking in, your angels are kind of your most, I would say, notable or most unique part of your line as well. And don't you, if I am not mistaken, name the angels for people in your life?
Yeah. Yes,
okay.
I do.
Okay.
I have a Melissa angel.
I know you do. And is that the plaid one?
It's the plaid one. Yeah.
That makes sense.
And I have one that's named for someone that loves French country.
Okay.
And so I did one for her, and I have one that Kirsty Jurgen that used to, I don't know if she still works for Melissa.
She does.
Anyway, she was one of the people that really encouraged me to get out on my own. And I did her with the little reindeer, a little sweater.
Oh, yes.
For the Nordic kind of thing.
So all I'm saying is there a gingham angel?
No.
Oh.
Oh, I think I have to do a gingham angel.
I think so too. I would love that. But
that's a good one. It'll be called Megan.
Yay! I've never had a canvas named after me. This would be amazing. So, but back to it. So behind you though, you've got, it's like a red and white design. So we actually just brought one of those, or excuse me, we just had one of those come through finishing. And I agree with you that it does look a little complex. And I think unfortunately for you, the canvas just looks weird.
Yeah,
so people are like, so
what's that supposed to be?
Exactly, but they turn out beautifully. And our finisher did it so that it didn't have to be hung. Someone asked to have it just be sitting.
Just standing.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And it turned out so cute. And
oh, good.
And I just love them because they're very different from any of the other angels that I've seen on the scene. So I think
they are, and they can hang and they can stand. And that's why I tried to make two different sizes. One is on 13 mesh and one's on 18. And so it comes out different sizes. So you can have, a variety. I'd like to do a third size, a bigger size.
Like a tree topper.
A tree topper or something that's, even taller. But I have yet to find a head. These heads are getting very, very difficult to find. They're from China and you can't get them anymore.
So if I recall, the head that we're talking about is really sort of a pearl bead, isn't it?
It's a pearl bead.
Pearl bead. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I have an idea for you that we can talk about late offline, but I have an idea that just popped in.
Oh, good. I'd love it.
Let's do.
Because I really am down to my last couple suppliers are saying, sorry, we can't get anymore. So I got to figure it out. I got to either paint them or something.
Yeah. And that's been really something for people in COVID. I think supply chain has been crazy. Our industry is feeling it. The painting services are backed up. But so how do you, other than having inspiration from your friends and naming it the Melissa Angel, and a lot of this comes out of your brain, how are you feeling inspired these days about projects?
It has, I have to say, with the pandemic and a couple other issues going on in my life, it hasn't been easy. Mm-hmm. And I'm not very technical. So as much as my daughter has tried to help me get on the social media and everything, I haven't been very good at it. That's all right. So I've got to learn how to do that. But with the pandemic, a lot of the times when I get ideas, it's when I'm on vacation. Okay. I am not thinking about laundry and this and that and the other thing. I'm just relaxed and I'm shopping, and I'm not a big shopper normally. Mm-hmm. So when I'm on vacation, I like to go shopping. Mm-hmm. And I see things and it kind of just pops into my head. I've got a bunch of ideas right now, but I just haven't gotten them down on paper yet because of all the stuff going on. Mm-hmm. But that's where I get a lot of inspiration when I'm traveling.
See that? And
One of
we
the
haven't been able to
canvases,
travel too much either. So
we haven't been able to travel with the pandemic, and so that's why I feel like my head has just been kind of deadened.
sure.
But
That's hard for
but
a lot
things
of
are
people.
opening up, and I we went to Kiowa Island, which is a favorite place for us to go. And so we visit Charleston, and that is this canvas over here. This it's a
Yes.
vertical brick. It's you don't have to put a
Yes.
brick in it. It's a could be a stand up, but it shows like the oh my God, the window boxes in Charleston are just to die for,
Yes.
and the old architecture and the shutters and the window panes and all that, and I just love all that. So that kind of inspired me to do those. Um, let's see what else. I wrote it down. I should remember.
So the one
Oh, I visited Florida, and some people had some funny prints in their house, and so that was one of the prints was not like this, but kind of like this "Do Come In" canvas, which I don't think you can see, but anyway,
you could pull it down
um,
if you want to, or maybe we'll they all come tumbling down.
yeah,
Pull
maybe
it.
I can
Oh, there
move
you
that
go.
up a little bit.
Yes, I remember
There.
her. I remember her from your line. Yeah, yeah,
And I got that from an idea from in a friend's apartment. She had a print that I just really liked. Um, and then with the coconut, let's see, where are those? Those are up here. I don't know if you can see those.
oh, yes, yes, yes,
They're,
yes,
they're the little coconut row things.
yes,
Those are was something I saw in Florida that I kind of I like the colors and everything.
yes,
Um, and I don't have all my canvases up. Oh, and the pineapple series, that was another Florida inspiration.
yes.
So it's really like when I'm traveling, um, and then also I people ask me, a good friend asked me to do a dog ornament for their friend. This was kind of back before I was stopped doing custom work, and she wanted a King Charles Spaniel.
Yes.
And so I said, well, he's a King Charles Spaniel. He has to be on a fancy pillow and stuff, you know. So I
So
started the dog series, and then so I kind of went through friends' dogs, and I think I have a bunch of them back here.
yes.
And so, when people ask me to do things, I love suggestions from people. I have a very good friend who sends me little sayings all the time.
Okay.
Oh, you got to do this in a needlepoint pillow or that. I've got to start getting those on paper
Like a notebook.
because
Yeah.
they're very cute little sayings.
So the
Um,
thing, speaking of which, the sayings, you must either you have friends with a really good sense of humor, or you have a very good sense of humor. Because the thing we haven't talked about yet, which is my favorite, there's a couple things that are my favorite that are in your line. So the one that is really funny to me is the one that's the garden, and is it the bunny? And
oh yeah,
bro, damn it.
yeah. I have a friend who has that sign in her garden, and I just
So
cracked up.
funny.
I mean, I just love
So
it.
funny.
And so I did a little garden thing, and I put the little sign down there with a little bunny.
Oh, it's so funny. And then the other are the series of coasters, um, of all of the different kind of
Oh,
funny.
the buzzed and tipsy and all that. Yeah.
Yes, those are
That
great too.
I was visiting my daughter in New York City, and we were shopping there again, and we saw some things that it just like it clicked. And then I thought, think of all the bar sayings that
Yes,
are out there, just a million of them.
yes.
And so, I mean, I'm coming up with more and more and more. And I like the idea of doing animals.
Uh-huh.
Not, I didn't want, cocktail glasses and stuff. I wanted it to be more of a, I don't know how to explain it, but not in your face kind of bar stuff.
Subtle. Yeah.
Subtle, yeah. And more funny, more
Yes.
just humorous.
Yes.
And so I sort of got inspired by that, and then just kept coming up with more and more and more. And as I say, I've got more coming. But that was on a shopping trip,
Yeah, just when
it's
you're able to kind of free your mind of what's
yes,
going on in the world,
exactly,
sort of like
exactly.
wonder. I understand that. So, so do you end up stitching a lot of your own work, or so you said you've been stitching for a long time? Do you, or are you working on other things, or what? Talk about.
I I've actually, I'm a one-man show.
Yeah, we are.
And so a lot of times at night, I'm not stitching like I would like to be, because I have accounting work and I have, trying to catch up on the business side of it.
Right.
And I'm very slow at that. And so
That's not the fun
I take a long time trying to figure this all out. But I have to do more of I have stitched quite a bit, quite a few things, not half as much as I would like to. And unfortunately, all of my stitch samples are at a trunk show.
That's okay.
Everything's at a trunk show. But I do have this purse that I just got back from Melissa. And
Oh,
so that was something that I finished stitching.
that's
But
beautiful.
unfortunately, I really, everything is at a trunk show. I have 3 or 4 angels. I have a couple of Christmas presents. Now that was another thing that I kind of started out with. That's a very unusual looking canvas, and I'd have to
Oh,
get
yes,
up and
yes, yes, yes. They kind of wrap around. It's like a little box.
they wrap around and they have little points,
Yes.
and the points come together to make an interesting, end.
Yes. And so if I
Top and
recall,
bottom.
you have a great gallery of finished items on your website, correct?
Yes.
So what
Yes.
we can do is we'll just suggest that anybody who watches this, if they're interested, they should go to your website and check out all those.
Definitely. Definitely.
I totally forgot about those. And you've got with the dancing Santas, I think.
Yep, the little dancing Santas, and the nutcrackers and the little gingerbread people, and and I probably will do more of those too. It's just, I get on to another line, I get onto another idea. My
Oh, for
latest idea has been, and I probably will have to, this, I have these dishes and they're from Sienna, and they have these crests on them.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where those things have come from.
So that's
And I
the
have,
blue with the snail there. Uh-oh,
sorry.
that's okay.
Anyway. Okay. Oh, good.
So those, so
those came from a set of dishes that I have. And I love the pattern. I've obviously, I've done the crest part fairly closely to what the dishes are, but the background and everything else has changed. And so I first I started doing them for pillows, and then I thought, they could be cute coasters. And so I have done them for coasters, and I'm also doing them for purses, like clutches.
yes.
And that's the next thing I really would like to stitch, because I think they could be really good looking clutches.
Got you. Yes. So
Oh, good.
so you're saying that you want to do the clutches is what you were saying. So you want to
Yes.
kind of keep that.
I like the idea of, I think that they could be really good looking clutches with the crest and the, little Sienna person on there.
Cool.
And that way, I think they would be very colorful, but I don't know. I think they could be kind of cool.
Clutches
So,
are fun, and also having something to adhere to the outside of a bag, like what you just showed us, is really fun too. That's kind of
yeah.
very cool. Very cool. So you probably have some things from other designers in your stash that you'd like to be stitching too. I think that's probably inspirational to kind of gain.
It is. I try not to go online too much to see other designers' things, because I don't want to start copying them in my head,
I have a custom painter who says the same thing. She says, I just don't even look at other needlepoint, because if I don't ever see it, then what's in my brain is what's in my brain, and not, so I can
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's why I haven't done, when I first started this, I didn't first start stitching, but when I worked for a distributor for a very prominent needlepoint artist.
Okay.
And I loved her work, loved it. And it was kind of fun, because I saw how her designs made stitching fun.
Sure.
She had a lot of borders around things,
Uh-huh.
and each border was different, and it was fun. It was colorful. It was different
Right.
stitches. And so I tried to certainly not copy anything that she, did, but
Sure.
tried to think of ways that I could make it fun to stitch, make things fun.
Sure.
Um,
And
you
that's,
know,
after all, that's what this is all about.
yeah, it is. It is. And you like to try different stitches and different threads,
Yes.
but you don't want to have to do the whole canvas in that. So just dividing it up into parts, it makes it kind of fun.
So are you a designer who draws on paper first, or do you just grab the needlepoint canvas and do you mark it out, or do you just start painting, or what is your?
I definitely draw it out first. I'm pretty exact when I do what they call stitch paint.
Oh yeah.
And so it's not, there are parts of things that I do that's just shaded and not stitch painted, but most of it is stitch painted. And so I do everything I literally Xerox a canvas, a blank canvas,
Oh,
and then I draw on that. And so that's how I can
interesting.
take it from a drawing to the canvas.
Yeah.
And then I go from there and I paint it. So it's kind of a long process. I know that other artists have told me, now, Tina, you don't have to make it so complicated, but that's just how it is in my head.
Yeah, that's
You know,
interesting because I don't think I've interviewed anyone else who has said that. Some designers will draw direct on the canvas, or some will just paint right on the canvas. Others take and like sort of trace over what they've done with grid, but I've never heard anyone say they Xerox it and do it that way. That's cool. That's interesting.
it's very different, but it helps me get it all into um, the right size, and so that
Right.
it's fitting into a, a lot of times when I'm doing, especially like with the coasters and they have the borders and stuff, I have to make sure that the design is counted out
The
on
right
the canvas
size, so they're all the same.
so that it comes out right,
I see. So
so
yeah.
that's why I do it that way.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about on the podcast and just in the shop. This is an expensive hobby, but I think it's so important for people to know the how much time and thought is put into it.
Oh,
That's why it's so expensive, is because you need to get paid for your work. This is
yeah,
it's artistic, but it's also very mathematical and it's on a grid, and so there's
right.
a lot more to it than just painting a canvas.
I wish I could just paint on the canvas. I mean, it would save me a lot of time.
Sure, sure. So tell me, what is your, I don't think we talked about this yet. Do you have an education or a background before you started?
Well, I was an art major in college,
Okay.
and then I realized I wasn't going to make any money doing that. So I decided to go back to paralegal school. So I was a paralegal
Oh
for 20 years,
gosh. Wow.
and never wanted to be a lawyer, but loved being a paralegal.
Sure.
And then I got pregnant and had babies, and so I
Okay.
stopped and took care of them, and then started, just kind of doing my art stuff.
Yeah,
It's
that's
it,
really neat.
it was fun when my son asked me to do this belt, because I was like, I could do this all day. I was just having a ball.
It's pretty awesome when you find the thing that really makes like lights your fire,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think needlepoint has done that for me too, and that's a common interest that we have. But yeah, it's
Well, and you have the store, which is like amazing.
well, I think what you do is amazing too. So we all have our strengths.
That's true.
Yeah. So you have this formal art background education, and you didn't use it,
Yes.
but now you're able to use it. So that's great. Are there other things that you do sort of outside of needlepoint or outside of art that you find yourself being passionate about? I mean, travel, obviously, you've mentioned, but
I love to travel. I love to garden.
okay.
Um, but my garden looks really bad right now because Detroit has been washed out with all these rainstorms, and so it's just decimated our yards. But
Yeah.
it'll come back next year. It'll be here.
Yeah. Now, do you have
Um,
like a vegetable garden or just flower
no, just
garden?
flowers, just
Okay.
flowers.
Okay.
And I love to do interior design. I have
Oh,
I before I did the needlepoint canvases and stuff, I had a little interior design business. I'm not good at selling. And so I would tell people this is what's going to look good, but I couldn't sell it very well. So,
I gotcha.
that didn't, I mean, it was fine. I did fine, but
That's-
then I started doing this and I really liked it. But I love interiors and homes and all that.
So do you find
Um,
yourself doing your own interior designing a
oh
lot?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I do that. Um, and I love dogs. I have a dog, and so I love to walk him and take care of him, and you know, so yeah, there are other interests, but life just is busy, you
Right,
know.
right. And you've said you've got 3 children and
Yes,
you
I
have a
have 3 children. My daughter's in New York, and as I say, getting married in October.
wow.
And
Congratulations.
my boys just turned 29 2 days ago. So,
Oh, wow. And are
and
they there?
they live downtown Detroit and working from their apartments. So
Good.
it's fun.
Now, I didn't ask you, did you grow up in Michigan
Yes.
or in the Detroit area?
Yep. Grew up here, never left. Wouldn't mind moving, but no,
Right.
I love it. I love my family's here. My husband, obviously we're together and we have a great time. He was born and bred here also.
Okay.
And so it's wonderful. It's a wonderful place to live, wonderful place to raise kids and families. And so
Now, do
it's
you all
nice.
do the up north thing in the
Oh,
summer?
yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. In
Okay.
fact, I'm supposed to go up next week, and there's one of the canvases I know that um, it's called Beach Day. And
Okay.
it's got 3 little ladies in little beach chairs and an umbrella.
Yes, yes,
And
yes, yes, yes.
that's, that I, was driving, we go to a place on Crystal Lake, up north. And there was this house that had these cute little chairs and these little ladies with the umbrella. And I was like, that's it. I got to do that.
It's got to be a
And
canvas. Oh, how cute.
yeah. So
We had that your trunk show here in the shop and we sold that canvas. And I think what's amazing about art is that you were inspired by a Michigan beach. She pictured I think it was friends on a Florida beach and was
oh
the
yeah.
hair, the three
Yeah, with the hair coming out. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's something that's one reason why I love doing these podcasts is to kind of hear about what's the inspiration and what was your original intent, because it's amazing what your original intent was and what ends up kind of going down the road with other people and how
Right.
together.
How
So
they connect with it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really fun. And knowing now that your angels are all named for people and all that's a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
I'm just kind of looking through my notes here because we've jumped all over the place, and I want to make sure that I've asked you everything that I usually cover with everybody. We've got where you grew up, and we've got where did you go to college?
I went to Ohio Wesleyan,
Okay.
and then I went to Michigan State because
Okay.
I studied art and interior design there.
So it's a little known secret that I'm a pretty big Spartan fan.
Oh,
in I lived in Lansing for a while, and I try to keep that quiet on the podcast because there is no truer and meaner uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Like long-standing competition than that
oh,
Michigan and Michigan.
between Michigan and Michigan State. Oh, isn't that the truth? And we have both, and my husband went to Michigan and I
Okay.
went to Michigan State. So it's kind of like,
Yeah, that
but he's a
rivalry.
big golfer. So he's more of a golfer. He
Well,
doesn't care.
Melissa's a big Michigan fan, so she's an
Oh,
alum,
yeah.
and so I just kind of stay off of it. But there's nothing like Tom Izzo and that basketball team is a lot of fun to watch. So,
Oh, isn't that the truth?
and I got
Yes,
to see a
that's
couple
for
of those
sure.
live in person. So I just yeah, it was fun times. So, but
It's
anyway,
a fun rivalry. It really is.
yeah, good to know though. So, yeah, I think the other you kind of covered, and what I'm thinking about is kind of where your head is going, and I think you shared with us that you're going to continue to kind of do that beverage coaster kind of
Yeah.
line and maybe continue to move on the angels.
And I'd like to do some scenes. I think scenes on a pillow are fun. I also, and I don't know if I can show you this, but for my daughter in her invitation, we worked on doing a crest. And this is what I kind of worked on it. I mean, I played around with it. I don't know if you can see it.
Are those fox on either?
They're foxes, and there's a robin at the top, and then there's cherry blossoms and cherries at the bottom,
That's
and then their initials in the middle. Um, and I definitely would like to see if I can do something with crests and stuff, because I love, as I said, the sienna crests and all that. I really liked it. I do want to stitch this for my daughter. I want to paint that and stitch it for my daughter and
wouldn't that
her
be
husband.
neat?
But that's a secret, so I don't know if she's going to hear this or not.
Don't tell her not to watch the podcast. Do
Yeah,
that.
she can't watch the
The
podcast
only
now.
person who don't want to watch the podcast this week.
All right.
So is there anything else about your life or your work that you want to make sure people know?
Boy.
About-
I hope that people will just be patient with me. You know, it's been really hard to not only be developing new canvases, but getting them painted
yes.
and reproduced. And I know that other people are having the same problem. And I know that the painting companies are doing the very best that they can do. But it's these coasters and clutches that I've done, boy, I did them last fall and they're still not painted.
Oh my goodness.
So it's really, it's almost a year. It's almost going to be a year. And it's, people don't want to wait that long. And I can't really introduce something until at least I know when it's going to come in.
Yes.
And so it's got to be frustrating for you as a store owner. And it's frustrating for me as a painter, because I have all these ideas that I want to do, and it just takes forever to get them produced. But
yeah, we continue to try to remind people both here in the store and via this podcast that, it's an art. It's kind of slower than usual. But there are a lot of beautiful canvases still available. My guess
there are.
I
have a lot of inventory. I want people to know I don't have a couple of canvases are totally out, but 95% of my canvases, I have a good amount of inventory. So,
yeah.
Just
so
so
we've been
people
trying to
know.
encourage people to really, if you see something you love, but it's not available, there may be something else that you love just as much. And, just excited to stitch another thing in the future, because there are designers like you who have a good depth of inventory, and there are some great things that, so it's a balance for sure. But it's also a communication. So we just say to people like, look, you can order that, but it's not going to be available for 6 to 9 months or 9 to 12 months, whatever it is. And we just try to encourage them to find something that might be more readily available. So
right.
To hear it from your side too, that just to remind people to be patient, and it sucks to be patient most of the time.
I know, especially when you're excited to do something and you're looking forward to it. And there's nothing like a new project. There's nothing like a new canvas. Everyone loves that. So
it's true. And we love to see new designs too. But it's another reason why we love doing this podcast is to introduce people to those of you who maybe they haven't heard of. And so they may not have been to your website before to see what you have. And, to remind people, like, there's other artists out there and there's other designs out there that are just as exciting and as much fun.
And fun. Yeah.
Had on one designer, one thing. So
and we appreciate it. And as the artists, we appreciate that.
Yeah, there's a lot out there, and there's it is sometimes worth the wait if there's a design that really makes someone's heart sing. But there's also a lot of things out there that are wonderful that can be stitched too. So
and that are fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see more angels. I actually need to stitch one of your angels. Now, one quick question I just had.
Yeah.
It just popped into my head. The wings are separate, right?
Yes. They are separate. They're on the same canvas, but they are a separate piece that the finishers put onto the, stitch onto the angel.
So that's a pretty cool thing too. I know that we talked already about the little pearl head and the beads that create
the halo. Yeah.
But I had forgotten, it just popped in my head as I'm looking at that canvas behind you. I had forgotten that the wings are separate.
Yeah.
And so you could choose to do those or not, I suppose. But
exactly, you could. Yeah.
So then is the stitched part of the wing showing
on the back? Like if you, no, not forward.
You could do
not forward.
Okay.
It's on the back. Yeah.
So then there's probably a fabric or like a moire or something that would show
Right.
on sides.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I had
I
forgotten
wish
about
I
that.
had my canvases here. I wish I
Don't
had my
worry
stitch
about it.
samples.
We're gonna have them. We're gonna direct them to your site where there's some great photos. In fact, maybe we'll use that photo as the promo for this.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, very good. Well, Tina, it's been fun. I haven't done this in a while, and I kind of miss doing it. Would you be up for a little lightning round?
Sure.
I was watching the Today Show the other day, and Katie Ledecky, is that how I think that's how you say her name? Ledecky,
I think.
gold medalist. They said, "Can we ask you some things that you might not have been asked before?" And she was like, "Well, I've kind of been asked a lot of things," but they did kind of stump her. It was sort of cute.
That's cute.
So they asked her, "What is the first thing you ate after you won, like after you left Tokyo?" So I'll ask you, what is not when you leave Tokyo, but what is your favorite thing? Like if you haven't had any, like your favorite thing to eat in a long time, what's your favorite thing?
Oh my
Favorite
goodness sake. Wow.
I was thinking you were going to say Italian food. You were talking about Sienna. You were talking.
I know. I love Italian food. Love Italian food. I love just like hot dogs. I
All
love
right.
steak. I mean, I'm terrible. I'm certainly
So
not a vegan.
are you a foodie? Do you like?
Pardon me?
Do you like? Are you a foodie? I do not consider myself.
I do love to cook. I mean, I've kind of gotten away from it because my husband hasn't been as interested, and it's just the two of us.
Yeah.
But my daughter is a huge cook,
Oh.
and we love to cook when we get together. We
That's
love to sauces. I love sauces, and I love, I'm not a big dessert person, but I love hors d'oeuvres, and
Ooh.
it's fun. We have a ball. We have a ball.
Good. Okay, so we know you like food, and we know we're not sure what the one thing is what you would eat. But what about 18 or 13 count mesh? Which would you prefer to stitch on?
I like 18.
Do you?
Definitely 18. I like to paint on 18, and I like to stitch on 18. You can get so much more detail on 18. And 13 is fast and it's fun. But I am all in for the 18. Now I have to wear more glasses and more magnifying. As I get older, it's harder, but I wouldn't give that up.
So
But I do have some 13 mesh canvases. I do, especially some of the bigger ones, that helps,
kind of lend themselves to that. So what about decorative stitches or basket weave or tent stitch? What is your preference?
I love to do backgrounds. I just love to do backgrounds. I'm one of those people that, I mean, if I could, I would do the background first. This, Melissa gave me the coolest decorative stitch for this background.
Nice.
I don't know the name of it. I don't know if it even has a name, but I loved doing it. So I love to do basket weave, but I also like to do fun stitches that cover a big area.
All
you
right.
know.
I like that. I like that.
So-
what about favorite? Do you prefer like wool? And
I love silk and ivory.
okay.
I love that's probably my favorite. I mean, I love, some like Gloriana.
Oh yeah, we all love Gloriana.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. I don't know the names, but I know exactly what they look like.
And you already answered one of my questions, which was, do you prefer dogs or cats? And you said dogs, I think.
Oh yeah, I'm a big dog person. Not that I don't like cats, but I love dogs. Love dogs.
Really, I'm telling you, you and Melissa are really channeling growing up in the Detroit area, dog people.
Oh yeah, the
Oh,
up north, the whole lake thing.
the
Yeah.
whole yes, that's so funny. And what about, so a la Melissa, what is your favorite ice cream flavor? Because she loves ice cream.
I love ice cream, and it is absolutely coffee.
Oh,
Haagen-Dazs coffee ice cream. I just love it.
that's so funny. You know, there's a great Ben and Jerry's that has an espresso, and I think theirs has some kind of chunk in it, which makes it even better.
Oh, now that would be good. I haven't had that. there's an ice cream store, speaking of up north, that's called Kilwins.
Oh, yeah.
And they have a cappuccino chocolate chunk or something like that.
Ah,
And it's my fave. It is my absolute favorite ice cream.
there you go. Very good. Well, we're going to leave, I think, on a sweet note, talking about ice cream. And
Oh, thank
it has
you.
been really fun, really great to get to know you.
Well, it's been great to get to know you, and very nice of you to have me on your show.
Oh, this was such a pleasure, and thank you. It was fun, and so I just have to wrap things up here. We just have to tell people, please subscribe if you found yourself watching this podcast and you enjoyed it, which we hope you do. There's a little subscribe button on YouTube, and it really helps us continue to get the word out about the podcast. And so, please hit subscribe, and then also we will put a link to Tina's website because we want you to have a chance to check out all of her finished samples and some of the other work that she referenced during our chat. So thanks again for being here, Tina, and thank you.
Thank you.
Watchers. Yeah, and we will see you next time.
Okay.
Okay.
Take care.